So you're thinking about living in Fort Worth. Well, here are some pros and cons we can talk about. Which one would you like to know about first? The good news or the bad news? I agree. We always say let's do the bad first and then let's end on a positive note. The negatives are minimal anyway. Let's dive right in. Here are 4 things that might slow your move to Fort Worth. Con number 1, the weather in Texas. It is all relative, but according to Weather Spark, the average weather in Fort Worth, Texas summers are hot and muggy, and the winters are cold and windy. It is partially cloudy year-round on average, but have no doubt there are plenty of sunny days. Look behind me. Clouds are so dispersed that you almost do not realize it's even cloudy. And over the course of the year, though, the temperature typically varies from 37 degrees to 97 degrees Fahrenheit, and it rarely gets below 25 degrees or above 102. Did you hear that? Rarely. This doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It means it doesn't happen often. This is all relative to your personal preferences. The heat index, on the other hand, does get quite warm. The hot season will last for about 3 to 4 months from June to September, with the average daily high temperature above 89 degrees, but it does get a whole lot warmer in July, August, and September. With the increase in heat comes the increase in electrical usage. Keep this in mind as you turn the thermostat down to cool off. As for the cool, yes, cool, not cold season, it will last for about 3 months between November and February, with an average daily high temperature below 65 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's not very often it gets below freezing. Now, as you may have heard, we did have quite the freezing storm this past year. It doesn't happen often. Next, Fort Worth does reside inside of Tornado Alley. Tornado Alley generally describes an area of central United States where tornadoes are most frequent. Although the official boundaries of Tornado Alley are not plainly defined, the main parts extend from northern Texas through Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and South Dakota. And since Fort Worth is in North Texas, it falls at the very bottom tip of Tornado Alley. We have been known to have a tornado or two, but again, it's not every day. It's every now and again, and it's seldom. Con number 2, traffic. According to TomTom.com, Fort Worth has a 13% congestion level. This means that a 30-minute trip will take 13% more time, or a little more than 3 extra minutes than it would during a baseline uncongested conditions. They calculate the baseline per city by analyzing free flow travel times of all vehicles on the entire road network, and it is recorded 24/7, 365 days a year. This information allows them to also calculate, for example, how much extra time a driver will spend in traffic during rush hour in Fort Worth. Now, after all this, the extra time doesn't seem so bad until you are sitting in traffic and running through construction. Sometimes we catch red light after red light trying to make our way to soccer practice or piano lessons, possibly both. Make time. because it is going to take time. Most of Fort Worth is spread out, and although the public transportation system is growing, it is not developed enough to forego the personal automobile. Con number 3, the crime rate. Fort Worth has a crime index of 13% according to neighborhoodscout.com. Fort Worth kind of likes that number 13, doesn't it? Anyway, this means it is safer than 13% of the cities in the nation. Seems like a small number, but I can assure you I feel more than safe in this fantastic city. This has been my place of entertainment and family my entire life. And just like any large city, there is some great neighborhoods inside of them all. You will just need to do a little bit of research to find them, but some has been done for you, and here is a short list of some of the neighborhoods to make note of. These are 10 of the safest Fort Worth neighborhoods. 1, the area around FM 1187 and Ben Day Murrin Road, the Wheatland neighborhood, Pecan Acres, Eagle Mountain, the area around Katy Road and West Kaler Road, around 114 and FM 156, Bel Air Drive and Bryant Irvin Road, Denton Highway and Wall Price, Ray White and Shiver, Golden Triangle Boulevard and Old Denton Road. Overall, our chances of becoming a victim of a violent crime is 1 in 223 in Fort Worth. This is half of a single percent. Half. You have 1 in 239 in Texas, which is less than a half of a percent. It comes at 0.4%. That's only a 16-point difference in people and a difference of 0.1% difference in percentages. Doesn't seem so bad when you look at the statistics, does it? The bad news number 4, or con number 4, is education. The Fort Worth Independent School District has some fairly significant problems. Many of their schools lack sufficient funding, which leads to overcrowding and poor building conditions. However, there have recently been signs of improvement thanks to the leadership of their superintendent. According to greatschools.org, 63% of the schools in the district rate below the state average. 46% of the schools in the district have students making less academic progress than their peers at other schools in the state. Texas assigns ratings to districts and campuses that designate their performance in relation to the state's accountability system set by the TEA. Fort Worth ISD has an overall rating of a C, student achievement rating of C, closing the gap rating of C, and a school progress rating of B. The overall grades are based on 3 categories. Student achievement, which is how well students perform. School progress, which is how well students perform over time and compared to students in similar schools. And closing the gaps, how well schools are boosting performance for subgroups such as students with special needs year over year. With all of this, there are alternatives. There are plenty of charter schools, private schools, and many homeschooling programs readily available. Pro number 1, the cost of living. According to getbellhop.com, in Fort Worth, the average salary is around $50,000 a year. The cost of living is just 2% higher than the national average. How much? That makes the cost of living roughly equal to Dallas, Texas, and Phoenix, Arizona, yet cheaper than Miami, Florida, and Chicago. So if you're looking to buy a house in Fort Worth, right now the average price for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home is a little over $263,000. Yet, if apartment living is more your thing, then be prepared to spend about $1,300 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment. For more detailed information on the cost of living in Fort Worth, there is a website called VALUATION. I don't know how to say it. I'll link it below. But it is a great website to check out. Here is where you will find detailed list of how much rent is, cost of healthcare, groceries, clothing, and just about anything you can think of. It is quite the amazing website. You can also compare these prices with other major cities around the world. Pro number 2, job opportunities. The Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex is home to an abundance of Fortune 500 companies. It ranks the 4th highest in the United States. American Airlines calls DFW International Airport its home. They employ more than 25,000 people in the metro area. Other companies with headquarters in Fort Worth include BNSF Railway, Pier 1 Imports, and GE Manufacturing Solutions. All these companies are really helping out too. New research suggests that the DFW job market may be the best in the country. Pro number 3, art and culture. You can explore a variety of Fort Worth museums that are world famous for their architecture and the quality of their collections. The Fort Worth Cultural District is home to 5 museums in a relaxing park-like setting, all right there with each other. This is a great place to start your tour of Fort Worth. There is so much to see and do. You can live as a tourist as often as you like in the city. The Cultural District is also home to the Will Rogers Memorial Center, one of the top equestrian show facilities, Dickey's Arena, the new home of the annual Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, and the acclaimed theater Casa Manana. Near the Cultural District, you can find and explore nature's masterpieces at the Fort Worth Botanic Gardens, the Fort Worth Zoo and Botanical Research Institute of Texas, or go jogging or biking along the river in Trinity Park. Explore the Fort Worth Cultural District by foot, as all 5 museums, like I said, are within walking distance, or pick a bike at one of the many Fort Worth bike sharing stations along the way. I could keep naming all the things that there is to do in Fort Worth, but we can save that conversation for another time or video. Pro number 4, the big city with a small town feel. Fort Worth will not impress you with a single aspect compared to cities of similar sizes, but taken as a whole, it is really hard to top. It is a fairly large city with everything you could want and desire in everyday living. It has some of the most spectacular museums, as I've mentioned. It has live music, dining, and festivals we all love with the big city, but it also maintains a small city level of charm and laid-back atmosphere. Visitors and new residents from other states find people of Fort Worth not only work in the heart of the city, but they also live there. You know, the big city. Fort Worth is part of a much larger metroplex, and if you can't find what you're looking for here, you can surely find it in Dallas or one of the many suburban cities surrounding the Fort Worth area. Fort Worth is for people who want the nostalgia of the Wild West. We have the stockyards, which has both real and fabricated, and a laid-back atmosphere to go along with the usual urban amenities that surround the downtown and 7th Street neighborhoods. I have lived in the Fort Worth Metroplex my entire life, and I have traveled the world as well. Fort Worth and the surrounding areas is one of the most amazing places to live and visit. If it wasn't for the desire to work, I could feel like a tourist on vacation each and every day. Fort Worth will not disappoint. In summary, Fort Worth is an absolutely amazing place to live. The 4 pros that we've mentioned, or that I mentioned, completely outweigh the 4 cons because those negatives are honestly minimal in size. If you have any questions about the Fort Worth or surrounding area, you are welcome to call or text message me or send me an email. If you have any questions or curiosities and you want to comment below, that's available as well. You can also click like and follow, or like and subscribe if you want to see other videos that I do about Fort Worth and the surrounding areas or the real estate market in general. I hope to see you guys soon. Bye for now.